my life is really strange. So tomorrow I'm teaching for the very first time. I'm going to be substitute teaching in a school, which I never liked school. I feel like I've had like 19 lives. Everything I do seems so different from the thing I did before. And yet, as I sat at my university a couple weeks ago, God just started showing me the thread from one life to the other life, to the other life that seemed like so completely different things, right? And just showed how they're all connected. Subbing is helping the school because they need help. It will help us financially. It's helping the business that I'm running, working with teens and young adults, and helping adults figure out how to work with teens and young adults.
We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 Strength and Health Authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode.
Hey, what's going on? This is the Strong by Design podcast. I am Jared Haley, one of your hosts, and today we have an awesome guest with you. We have my good friend Scott Biddle is in not this house, but he's in his own house, and he's joining me today. Yeah, you kept asking if you could get down here to Florida, and we just couldn't make that happen for you. But maybe next time we'll have to have you on again, and you'll come down, and we'll have you in house. But no, Scott and I have known each other since 2013, something like that. Way back when I was still living in Iowa, and Scott, what was your official title for that?
Youth and Young Adult Director.
That's right, Youth and Young Adult Director.
Yeah.
And you were there until, what did you say, 2017, 18?
18,
yep.
18, yeah.
Yep, which was about the same time that my family moved back to Colorado as well. And then your life kind of went on a whirlwind. You weren't sure. I know we had lots of conversations like, what are you going to do now? All of a sudden, he was doing side ministry stuff. And then I check out Facebook one day, and here's Scott throwing axes. And all of a sudden, that became something that you were doing. And so I know, how long ago was it? You were just in a big competition, yeah?
Yeah, just a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
I was down up in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite place to go.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah. So tell me a little. So, are you considered a pro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a pro axe thrower. Yep.
A professional axe thrower. Which is awesome. I love it.
It's like those things that's not something you ever think you're going to say out loud, right? Like, you don't know it's a thing, and all of a sudden you are. It's kind of strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've thrown axes an axe or a couple of axes. I've done it once with my wife.
Okay, hold, before you finish this,
go ahead. Yeah.
Just know that this is being recorded, so you can't take it back, right? So
correct. Yeah,
be careful where you go with this.
I was just saying we went on a date night. That's it.
Okay.
And we went and we threw axes, and I never would have thought I'm gonna really get good at this and start beating people in competition. But so tell me, I guess I want to hear, I don't know a whole lot about the axe throwing scene. So give me the rundown. Yeah.
So crazy story, right? I'm kind of walking through some things, starting up a business of my own. And so I'm meeting with a group of entrepreneurs in my hometown. And this guy
Still Oskaloosa?
Still Oskaloosa, Oskaloosa, Iowa. And this guy comes and sits at a table that I've never seen before. And he's got this big beard, and so I'm like, what is happening? Who is this guy? So I kind of leaned to the person next to me, and I said, hey, who is this? And they said, what? It's a guy that's opening up an axe club in the mall. And I was like, a what in the mall? Like, what's happening? And so we're going around introducing ourselves. And so being me, right, I'm like, hey, I'm Scott. I'm a professional axe thrower. And this was, 2019, right? I've never thrown an axe. I don't know what's happening, but that's just who I am, right? So I just throw it out there, and everybody laughs because they know it sounds ridiculous. And so next thing I know, he says, hey, you want to come see the club? And I was like, sure, let's go. And we're checking it out, and we're talking, and he says, hey, his son comes over, is working, and says, so do you, what's happening here? Oh, is this a job interview? And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
So next thing you know, I have a job. Next thing I know, I'm managing the club. Next thing you know, I'm competing in a league. And fast
Is
forward.
it like bowling?
Better.
I mean, better, obviously. But I mean, when I think of like a league, it's like, you go to the bowling alley and you're in a league. Is that kind of how it is? Are there teams?
Yeah. So they're starting to get some teams. It is like a bowling league. So you show up every week, and you have four games each week, and you play against kind of the same people in your league, right? The cool thing about it is you can actually see how you stack up against everybody in the world. All right. So every week in the app, you can see where you're at. So like last week, I got on and I think I'm 33rd in the world, like for week 1. Right. And so that continues for 7 weeks. And then you
Hold
have
on a second.
Yeah.
What's the total number? Is it 33 out of 37?
Yes, of course it is. You know what? I don't know. Last year, there's about 17,000 or so that were competing throughout the year. I don't know what it is at this.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing all right. So it's individual. So I throw, there's 4 different disciplines. There's hatchet, big axe, duels, which is part of the team part, and then there's knives.
Just like this?
Actually, it's 2 people.
Okay, two people, not 2 hands. Got it.
Throw at the same time at the same target.
Whoa.
And so
okay.
both axes have to be in the air at the same time at some point, right? And so there's lots of, crashes and things falling to the ground. And there's got to
be strategy there, though, right? Like, you don't have to let go at the same time.
You do not, no.
So one person can go and then the other one goes as long as you let go before it hits?
You can. Most people let go right around the same time. You're really trying to get probably the axes to hit the board about the same time. So because some people throw faster and slower, you just try to time that up a little bit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because if one's in there and the other one hits, can it make it fall off?
It could.
If you
some
suck.
people hit early. Oh no, I've hit in the air, buddy. Where it's up in the air and they both hit and they both crash to the ground. Like then there's nothing sticking. So
Yep.
Yeah. It's fun. It's like it is. It's a after doing big axe and hatchet on your own to throw with somebody, you're kind of sharing the load. Like you make fun of the I make fun of the other person if they mess up, and they make fun of me, and then you're kind of sharing that burden, which is kind of nice.
Okay, so you have hatchet, you have big axe, you have duel, and number 4 is
knives.
Not
So now there's a world knife throwing league as well, and so that's part of kind of the same mix.
Do you do that too? Are you doing knives?
Yeah. I just started this past year. Yeah. So I didn't want to.
A little different.
It is. It is different. So
that's fun though.
Yeah, it's a good time. And then we're also
thinking of all the action movies where you're throwing knives into people's hands and whatnot. So
yes, it's a lot easier to do that. Yeah, that's way easier.
Yeah, totally.
No, but then they've also created a team sport, so the team melee. So it's kind of this past year. It's kind of been like the all-stars of the all-stars throwing, and it was really cool to be a part of because you're throwing with all your buddies. And you're competing against the best of the best. So that was fun.
Yeah. And they're traveling with you as well to the different locations?
Yeah. So there's different tournaments all over the country, all over the U.S. There's actually some in other countries as well. And so there can be a significant amount of travel if you allow it, or if you want to, or if you can afford it. So those are you put all that stuff together, right?
Yep. And I know, so I was Facebook stalking you a little bit today, and just trying to find some solid pictures of Scott throwing some axe, and what I noticed is you have did you make your uniform? Do they make that for you? Is it like race cars where you're getting sponsored?
Yeah. So
walk me through all this. These are all good questions, man.
Yes, let's have a conversation. All right, let's have a conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
So the ones that you probably saw were from the World Championship that I was just in December, right?
Yeah.
So they
I don't know.
Yeah. So if they all look similar, they make a jersey for you, and you can have sponsors. They give you four spots for sponsors, and people will give you money or merchandise or whatever it is, right, to become a sponsor. Other things that we do throughout the year is we create our own jerseys where we can have sponsors on there, and people hand out stuff. They'll just trying to get people interested in what they're doing, everything from shoes to sports stuff to food. Like there's beef jerky. A guy that was sitting next to me at World was like, "You want some beef jerky?" I'm like, "Yes." If you say no, there's something wrong with you, right? Like that's not okay. And so there's sponsorship of athletes that are actually traveling and able to show that. And so stuff like the Worlds are on ESPN. So if you're on ESPN, you've got these sponsorships, all 4 of them on you that you can show, along with all the social media and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Did you make it to the ESPN show?
I did not quite make it. No.
Okay.
No. So as a competitor, I did not like my performance at Worlds. Probably as people in other, like looking from the outside, are like, yeah, you were at Worlds and you made, top 65. And I'm like, yeah, but not where I wanted to be. It's not number 1, right? So
is that like a once a year thing?
Yes, Worlds is once a year.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll be prepping for next year then? Yeah.
So that it's everything, takes all the league stuff throughout the year and different tournaments you're in and kind of ranks you in place and puts you in that spot. So there's also the U.S. Open. I think they're renaming that this year, but that's also another ESPN thing that you can get onto and make your way in. So
yeah, and you're hoping to do that as well?
Yes. I missed it last year. They did not go off of merit last year. We're talking about the World Axe Throwing League, by the way. We did not go off of merit. It was off of they put your name in a spinning wheel. And so
that's terrible.
It was terrible. It was, but they're trying to get, everybody to be interested and be a part of the bigger sport, which I get. I'm just hoping they change a little bit of mindset as we go forward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I've seen the board because I went to an axe throwing place and whatnot, but is there different games that you can play as well? When it comes to the World Tournament, is it strictly hit the middle every time? Is it like darts? I
don't know much about darts. Okay. But they're cute. I mean, they're cute to look at, right?
Yes.
So it's a game of 10 throws. So you have the chance to, with hatchet, there's 10 throws. And so you have to, and then you're going for the bullseye, which is 6, right? But you also have the chance in the World Axe Throwing League are these little blue dots up top, and they're called the kill shots. And so any time you can go for 2 of those, and those are worth 8 points. The thing is, you have to call it. You have to say, I'm going for the kill shot. If you miss, you get 0. If you hit it, you get 8. And so you've got this big disparity. It's a big risk, and big reward, right?
You can only do 2 of your 8, or 2 of your 10 throws can be kill shot.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. And so it's got to be strategy there as well. Actually, back up for a second. You told me, the kill shot is 8.
Yeah.
The bullseye is 6.
Yeah.
What else is there, points-wise?
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So the further out you go, the less you get.
Correct. So the kill shot would be like in I think it's the 2 area.
And does the axe just have to be touching?
Yes, as long as it has to be touching. So in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it has to be touching the white part of it, the wood, as opposed to the line. And the same thing with the bullseye and the kill shot. It at least has to be touching the red or black mark around the bullseye or kill shot.
Okay.
Both sides of the axe.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And outside of practicing and throwing, you're lifting heavy weights and you're really bulking up so that, I mean, technique-wise, I mean, other than just, I mean, it's just repetition. Is that kind of your training?
For the most part, yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I should say this. Not a whole lot that I do. And I don't think there's other people that do it specifically for axe throwing. But I think just the cardio of not being tired, right? So the biggest part is probably just when you go to tournaments, it's an all-day affair. Like, so when I went to Worlds, it was all day Friday, all day Saturday. It's Thursday night, all day Friday, all day Saturday, because I was in all 5 events. And so
Saturday afternoon, your arm's getting a little...
It's interesting that it didn't. So I've even thrown in.
That's because of your hardcore training that you did.
I don't want to say anything, but
yeah.
Yeah. No, so we have things called marathons as well, which is you do all 8 weeks in the span of one day. And so I've done all 4 in one weekend. So that's a lot of throwing in one weekend. And I haven't really gotten too bad. So, and I throw a pretty heavy axe.
Yeah. So you can do different weights?
Of axes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so a hatchet, it can be anything under 3 pounds. And then big axes between 3 and 4.25. So, yeah. Yeah, so not big, but they're
Are people
bigger.
like building their own? Are you doing different models of axe? And look at this.
Let me show you something. How about that?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to see it. For all those listening on the podcast, they're going to love this part.
Yeah, you can see it all. Come watch the show. Like, you got to see it. Come on.
Yeah. You can check it out on YouTube.
So here
Look at that.
is one design created for me. This guy his name is Wellman. It's on there somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. Wellman Axe. So Dustin Wellman out of Michigan. This is his number 310, it looks like. And so the head was something bigger, like a 4-pound axe, and he actually trimmed it down to about 2-pound head, and then designed all and put all the. I mean, look at the work in that.
Yeah.
That's it's pretty wild.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then it's weighted a certain way. And do you have to sharpen it before every round, or you sharpen it before a tournament, or do you never sharpen it?
You know what? Depends on the axe. I think this one. I'm not sure if I've sharpened it.
Yeah, you should probably do that.
The older axes, actually the steel's better, so you don't have to keep sharpening it as much.
Gotcha.
And so, So I mean, then you go to everything from here's my duals axe. As you can see, duals meaning it's all taped up,
into it.
right?
Yeah,
you can see the back is all destroyed.
That's funny.
So yeah,
what's
all
awesome?
kinds of crazy stuff.
I know that. I mean, you're part of this thing now. So working on getting more people involved and kind of expanding the sport and helping people know what's going on. Step one for me, if I show up at a place and I want to throw an axe, no one really told us what to do. They're just like, hey, don't stand down by the target when someone's throwing, and outside of that, just have a good time. So it was like, all right. So we're just kind of like trying to figure out how to throw the thing and how to get it to, stick somewhere. And we didn't know how the score worked or any of it. So maybe I went to a really terrible place.
So I want to apologize to you right now that happened. That it hurts my soul when I hear that, because the whole point of walking for the first time is to demonstrate. This is how you do it. This is how you throw. Here's the safety aspects of it, and this is how you're going to do it. I stand by everybody that walks in. Here's how you throw it, and then watch them. Okay, correct this, because to me, the sticking part, right? It's not about scoring high the first game. It's you want to stick, right? Like, that's the big part. So
I know when it clangs around out there, that's kind of fun too.
Yeah. So I apologize wherever you went, and shame on you, whoever did that. But it should be. And so there are places that are like that, right? That do not show things, which I think is wrong. And most places do. So again, I apologize for that. But because of that, I've also created a course that you can actually get and watch to see how it's done, right? And it's really to kind of demonstrate, because there's 2 things I always heard about axe throwing as I was managing the place. There are 2 fears. The fear is, number 1, I'm going to get hurt. The second fear is I can't do it. And can I tell you, when someone walks in and they go, I can't do this, and I show them and they can do it, and the smile that comes on their face, it's like it takes everything that I do spiritually in the church, and it just puts it all in one small moment. It just feels so good, right? Like showing somebody that they can't do something that they can. Oh, it's the best thing ever, right? And so I created this course because I was like, you can do it, and you can be safe doing it, and so it's really easy to do, right? So that's important to me, and most of the axe throwing.
All the people who are out there like me that went to a terrible axe throwing place of someone that didn't show us how, we can go get your course and we can take it, and then we'll know. You
could, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll make sure to put a link in the description below so that people can have access to that. So,
all right.
Easy peasy.
Peasy.
That was easy peasy to throw that in there. As long as you get it to me. If you don't get it to me, then I can't put it in there. So,
well, that'll probably happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know, Scott, just kind of watching your story over the last 8 years, it was interesting to me because I remember when you first, there's different stuff going on with your position. And so I think that, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think you were forced to move on. Was it like a financial thing? It's kind of what I remember, or maybe, I don't know if you want to get into that or not.
No, it was financial. It was, the organization I was working for was running out of money. And so it was just time to move on. And yeah. And
I remember having a conversation with you, and I'm like, okay, cool. So what are you going to do now? Are you thinking about pastoring? Are you thinking about, what's next? And you were like, I don't know. I'm not going to rush it. I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens. And so maybe you can walk me through that. I know you're walking with the Holy Spirit. He's speaking to you. And I'm just curious, kind of, what were some of those conversations that you're having with God? And how did, what the steps that you were taking? Because we even talked about, because you started doing some like podcast vlogging stuff, and we talked to, you got some lights and you were doing that for a little bit, and you were live. I remember you went live and you were testing it, and I think I jumped on for like an hour with you that first time. And so all of this stuff was going on.
Wait, was I eating stuff? Is that what's happening that time? Like the first time I remember going live, I was eating food the whole time. Like it was crazy.
You were playing with backgrounds. You just like made a background in like your attic or something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I was testing a different kind of software, right? Like it was, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was like Chris Smitherman was jumping on, and different people like that. But
so good.
Yeah, so your perspective, you're like me. I'm thinking, oh man, I don't have a job. I got to find something right away. If it was me, I'd be walking through a lot of anxiety of trying to figure out what's next. From the outside, you appeared very chill. And so I don't know if that's how you were on the inside or not. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit, but maybe just share with me and those listening, what was that experience like, and what was it like walking with God into the unknown?
Yeah. So it was interesting, right? So you're going through this change that I didn't know what was next. Like I didn't have a clue. And I looked chill because I think for the most part I was. Like it wasn't the first time I've been without a job. My wife was working, so we still had some income coming in, right? She was teaching.
That always helps.
Yeah, that was very helpful. And so it's kind of like, okay, God, you're going to lead to whatever's next. Like He's never failed me, right? Like it's never been like I've done something and then He just left me alone. There's a time where I was traveling and speaking at camps or retreats and didn't have a regular job. And God was leading in faith. I was just following wherever He said go, I went, right? And so I knew from my past that God will take care of me and me and my family, right? So even at that point, I had kids and a wife, and we were all kind of walking through this stuff together. It was probably several months in, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in, and I started getting nervous because I didn't have that next thing. It was really starting to bother me. And I was talking to some other people, and I'm sitting out at the coffee shop quite a bit. Yeah. Working really hard to bum it. It was really strange, right? So you're just kind of searching, trying to figure some things out. And I just remember sitting down with my wife and just saying, Tani, I don't know what to do. I know God's going to lead. And she just looked at me and she goes, you take the time that you need. God's always taken care of us. He's always been there. He's always led to whatever the next thing is. Just take your time. And I was like this weight, right? It lifts off and you kind of go, okay. All right. Let's keep going, And so one thing led to another, going through this whole thing with God and I mean, looking over to like, what can I do? I want to be able to sit at coffee shops. I want to be able to talk to people. Like, that's what I love connecting with people, right? And so how do I do this with the job? And how do I go through all this stuff? And one thing led on from posting on Facebook to talk about life coaching with somebody. And so that led a conversation, which led into a mastermind that I'm in with some people over the last several years, which put me into speaking, going through a program for speaking up in front of groups that led to being a part of doing some membership stuff. Like, it's just interesting. I feel like I was just telling somebody I'm starting to substitute teach. Okay. So this is my life is really strange. So tomorrow I'm teaching for the very first time. I'm going to be substitute teaching in a school, which I never liked school, right? Like, this is a really strange, and I keep telling people, I feel like I've had like 19 lives, right? Like, everything I do seems so different from the thing I did before. And yet, as I sat at my university a couple weeks ago, and I went up back to my college, and I was sitting on campus because I was in Canton, Ohio. And I thought, God just started showing me the thread from one life to the other life to the other life that seemed like so completely different things, right? And just showed how they were all connected. And leading up to this time where subbing is helping the school because they need help. It will help us financially. It's helping the business that I'm running, working with teens and young adults, and helping adults figure out how to work with teens and young adults. Like, there's just a lot of stuff.
Is that the business is Unleashing Heroes?
Unleashing Heroes, yeah. So it's just this connection piece. It's just interesting, but it just, all the challenges and the unknowing and the taking risks to jump out and go, okay, you said do this. I'm giving everything I got. And it looks ridiculous to people on the outside because they're like, okay, you tried this. Like, this is how I felt. I felt like people were watching like you, right? You're watching from the outside. I come stay at your house. I come stay at your house. Hey, I'm going to go to this speaking thing, conference. Okay, can I stay at your house for a night before and the night afterwards and hang out and play wiffle ball in your backyard? Like, can we do stuff, right? Like, so people are watching me from the outside, seeing, okay, I talked about coaching. I talked about doing some mentoring, discipleship. I've talked about working with students. I've talked about, and to see all these different things and going, what in the world is Scott doing? So from in my mind, that's what I picture. I picture people going, I have no idea. And now he's throwing axes. Like, it's crazy the things he's doing. And God just kept saying, don't worry about other people. You keep following. It's going to all connect. You're going to be fine. And so even the people in my world, right? It is. It is, because we all want people to look at us and go, well, that's normal.
Yeah. Well, not even normal. Maybe that's exceptional, or that's amazing, or look at the great thing that he's doing. Like, oh man, he was patient, and now Scott Biddle's the billionaire because he waited on God, Yeah,
and exactly.
That's not typically how things happen, And
but
I'm sure
it can, and we're ready for that, right? Like, so those are things that. So being in a couple of masterminds that I'm in with friends from around the world, really, and changing some of that mindset. Being a pastor, being a youth pastor, being a pastor over other churches. Money wasn't a thing. Like, that wasn't something I was like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money. And now I'm out in the world going, okay, I want to be able to live a different life. Like, and it's all in the mind, right? It's a mindset. It's how you think. It's how, like, it's just so interesting the way God has just designed all this stuff for me to be thinking different and working with people and people speaking into me and allowing people to speak into me, right? Like, is that not something we work really hard not to do? Like I do. I'm like, no, this is me. This is my life. I'm an American, which means I do everything on my own and I can do it myself. And now allowing people to speak into me. I
went to school and I've been in ministry and I've been around the block, and I can't get anything new from anybody.
Yeah. And so it's just been a crazy ride to see how it all starts to form together. And so I'm excited to watch this stuff continue to bloom as I drop a couple things even this week. So it's very strange.
So you're substitute teaching, you're throwing axes, and you're still running Unleashing Heroes, right?
I am, yeah.
And, can you just give me a quick summary of what Unleashing Heroes is?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's life coaching. Is that what that is?
Well, you know what? Life coaching's in there. It is really designed. My big thing is going back. I've done youth ministry from the beginning of time. It feels like that was probably 18 lives ago, right? Like that's where I was at.
That was one of the beginning threads.
That's right. Went to school for youth and family ministry, and so I've always felt that teenagers are world changers, and all we got to do is invest. And so that's been one of the threads throughout all of this time. And so going to Unleashing Heroes, it was really about how do we unleash the heroes in each of our teenagers and young adults. Like at some point, I'm watching our culture now where we disparage and we point to them and we go, shame on you, and you shouldn't think like that, and you're lazy, and you're all this stuff. And I look at that and I go, well, who's helped them to get through that? Who's trained them? Because someone's trained them to think the way that they do and to act the way that they do and to do the thing and so adults look at me and go, oh, no, that's not our fault. Well, who did it? At the age of 4, who said we're going to give them participation trophies? Who did that? That wasn't the 4-year-old, right? They're not sitting on there picketing going, hey, we want participation trophies. No, we did that. And we thought it was good, but it hasn't been great, right? So we have had some causation in creating what we see. So we create, and they are now following those footsteps and thinking that way. Sure. And so how do we help them become who they are, right?
Yeah. Our choices are always going to have consequences, whether they're good or bad. They can have good consequences, and it's it's going to happen, based on what we decide to do. So continue.
Yeah. So there's a part of helping teenagers and young adults figure out how to become who they're supposed to become, but it's also helping adults figure out how do we help to unleash that hero in our teenagers, right? So how do we help the hero? So the way that I kind of talk about heroes is every story, there's a hero. In every story, the hero is a person kind of at the front of that book. And so how do we help our teenagers and young adults write their own story? Because in the story, as a hero, they also have guides, which I believe are the adults. We're there to help guide them to get from here to there. Not tell them how to do it, not tell them exactly what to do, but to guide them through that. It's kind of like supporting someone rock climbing, right? So if you're up there rock climbing, the person in most cases is not standing right next to you and taking your arm and pushing it up to the next handle hold and then taking your leg and they're guiding you and then supporting a lot of times from the base. Supporting, hey, and when they look down and go, hey, where do I put my hand? Okay, look to the crevice up to the right. If you just about 4 inches over, but it's guiding, it's supporting. It's not, this is exactly how you do it, but when they say, hey, I need some help, bam, we got to be there, right? So I don't know. We've got to position ourselves in different places.
You got to hold that rope for when they slip.
Yeah.
So they don't plummet to their death.
Yeah.
Sticking with the analogy there. You're welcome.
Yeah. We don't want anyone dying. Yeah. But teenagers and young adults, they're designed to go do crazy stuff. They're risk-oriented. The frontal lobe is not developed. They're designed to do that. Let's help them. Let's help them go do risky stuff because that's the way God designed them to be. And let's go. How do we support that? So.
Love it. And obviously, who knows what the future holds for Mr. Scott Biddle, because who knows? That's kind of the fun of it, though. One of the things that's a pet peeve of mine is when people start following Jesus and their focus is on doing everything I can to stay safe and stop sinning. And I'm like, that's not what we're called to do. We're called to go live this life of adventure with Jesus where he's taking us to do things. And it's like moving beyond sin where sin's no longer the focal point. Sin is done, sin is dealt with. And now I'm on this journey to do something incredible, whatever God wants to do. And it's like God's already doing it and he's inviting you to be a part of it. And to me, that's the exciting thing about being a follower of Jesus is the new things that he's going to take me to do that I never thought I would do on my own. I never thought that, we would be living in Florida, working at a fitness company, making videos for a living. And God's doing other cool stuff in our lives as well. But staying safe and trying not to sin, to me, that's not the way to do that, And so that's why I'm excited for what you're doing with Unleashing Heroes. And I know that it's always been your heart to really invest in teens and youth and the next generation, and seeing them be able to get over those hurdles as well in their own lives. And so that's exciting. I know that it looks like you sponsor yourself, I think, on your axe throwing.
Yeah. So if you're a sponsor out there, if you're somebody looking to sponsor an athlete, let's go. Like, I want to get to more tournaments, and, I can help spread the word about your product, whatever that is. Well, no, let me back up.
How many spots do you have left on your shirt?
For next year, I don't have anything for world stuff yet, but I probably have maybe 6 spots for this upcoming season that I'll be wearing at all the leagues and tournaments and that kind of stuff. So probably about 6 left. Yeah.
So what you're saying is if I talk to the right people, we can get a Strong by Design patch on your shirt. Is that what you're saying?
Let's go. I think we could, again, and when I said, here's the deal, is I won't just support anything and put everybody's, I'm pretty particular because of my character and what I want to take out to people. So
you shut me down pretty fast there, Scott.
I just want to take it back because I said it out loud. Like, I'll take anybody. That's not true. Yeah. I want to make sure that's out there.
Yeah. You have a very intensive process.
That's right. How much? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you're wearing something, you're representing them, but it's representing you as well. So, I mean, that completely makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But no, so if there was somebody listening and they go, this is awesome, I want to sponsor Scott, what does something like that look like?
You know what? I think it looks different for a lot of different people. And I say that because of this. There are certain things where maybe products would come into play, where I can get free product through the thing. Something's going to be financial. It could be stuff where the money's coming in, but I can come and do like I go and speak to schools and businesses. Is that something we can trade off? That's something I can come in and do that on your behalf or to your company. And then that's part of being sponsored, of me giving back to you. As a sponsor. So I think there's, me coming and throwing with you and coaching you myself, right? Like, be able to fly in. Again, prices vary on all those things, right? But the concept is that I want to be able to support back as much as you're supporting me. So
love it. Well, Scott, thanks so much for spending some time with me today, and it's good to catch up and hear a little bit more of I'm glad to know that you did get anxious a little bit, so that makes you a little bit human again. No, I'm just kidding.
This week, this has been the week of challenges, right? So, like, for me, hitting the sub button for the first time this week, I'm like, oh man, that's like breathing hard. It's crazy. Yeah,
it's cool. Well, love you, buddy. So glad to get to see your face and to get to chat for a little bit. Looking forward to seeing all the cool things that God does with you moving into the future. Hopefully, maybe we'll get you some sponsorships. Maybe some people will hear this. And if you are hearing this and you want to reach out to Scott, we'll put some sort of contact in the link below as well, so that you can get a hold of him and help him get to the next World Tournament and become number 1. Hey,
let's go!
That's right. So, thank you guys so much for watching or listening to the Strong by Design. Feel free to give us a comment, give us a like, share it with your friends, and we look forward to just connecting with you guys again. We release an episode every Wednesday, so get ready for another week, and you'll be hearing from us again.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.